All right, welcome back. This week is going to look very similar to last week because we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the equation of a line, but this time we are going to be given 2 points instead of a point and a slope. So anytime we're given 2 points, all we need to do is graph those 2 points, find the slope between those 2 points, and then use that slope to be able to find more points until we find the y-intercept. Okay, so in each case, what we want to do is we are trying to find the slope, m, and the y-intercept, b, and then we'll be able to write the equation for the line once we do that. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this first one and plot those 2 points. So we have -8, 10. So we go over to -8, and we're going to go all the way up to 10. So we have a point right there. And then we have -6, 5, and we're going to make a point right there. All right, and so this is now where instead of using the slope to be able to find more points, we actually have to find the slope first. So all we have to do is recognize that from left to right, our line is going down. So if we look at that point that's on the left, it's higher than the point that's on the right. So that means our line is going down. And the way we can find the slope is we always start on the left-hand point and we go down first. And then we go to the right. And so we just identify what we did, right? So in this case, I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's -5. And I went over 2. So I know my slope is -5 over 2. So I can go ahead and put that down where I have the m equals written. And then what I can do is I can use the slope to find more points. So I'm going to go down 5 again, over 2. We have a point right there. Down 5 again, over 2. We have a point right there. And then I'm going to go down 5 and over 2 one last time, and I'll end up on the y-axis. Okay, so now I've just identified where my b is, and the b is right there at -10. So my b is -10. Okay, and once I have those two things, I can then write the equation of the line. So the equation of the line, remember, is y equals mx plus b, and we just replace the m and the b with what we found. So we have y equals -5 over 2x, and then -10 because it's a -10. All right, let's do another one. So in this one, we have the point 5, -2, and 10, -6. And the first thing I'm going to do is write m equals and b equals. And this is a good habit to have when you know you need to find those two things. Write it down first like this. That way you will have something to remind you what you're looking for. Okay, so we have the point 5, -2. So I go over to 5 and down to -2. And then I have the point 10, -6. All right, so again, if we look from left to right, the left-hand point is higher than the right-hand point. So that means this slope, this line is going down. The slope is negative. Okay, so we can go ahead and find the slope here, and I'm going to go down first, and then I'm going to go to the right. So I went down 4, and then I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my slope I can write in there as -4 over 5. And now this one, we have to do that trick where we work backwards. Okay, so instead of going down 4 and to the right 5, we're going to go up 4 and to the left 5. So I'm going to go up 4 and then to the left 5, and I only have to do this once because I get to the y-intercept right away. Okay, so I know the y-intercept is right there. So the y-intercept is 2. So I can write there the b is equal to 2. And then I can go ahead and write the equation of the line. So y equals -4/5 x plus 2. All right, here you go. There's 2 here that you can try on your own. And these have numbers in the boxes, so there are corresponding problems on Schoology where you're going to have to enter the answers for these. All right, let's look at a couple of more examples. So let's see here what's going to happen in this first one. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is write down m equals b equals, because I know I'm going to look for both of those things. And then we have the point -3, -7. So we go -3, -7. So that's down here. Whoops, it didn't make a point. There we go. And then we have the point 6, 5. Ooh, way over here. So this is one where our points are on either side of the y-axis. So we've got a little more work to do here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope between these 2 points. And now this is going to be a really big triangle. But the key here is the left-hand point is lower than the right-hand point. So that means our slope is positive. The line is going up. So I'm going to go ahead and go up as far as I need to. I need to go to there. And then I need to go to the right. Let's do that again. It's not on the line. To the right. All right, so I just have to count these off. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because we can easily make mistakes when we're counting. But basically what we want to do is we want to count the number of squares. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this one is 12. So we went up 12. And then we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 12 over 9. All right, and when we have a slope of 12 over 9, what we want to do is we want to simplify that because both 12 and 9 can be divided by 3. And when we divide each one of those by 3, we end up with 4 over 3. So our slope is actually 4 over 3 instead of 12 over 9. So every time we get a slope, we want to make sure it's in simplest form, and 12 over 9 is not, so we have to reduce it by dividing each one by 3. All right, so now how do we go about finding the y-intercept? Well, what we do is we start at this left-hand point, and we use our slope of 4 over 3 to find more points. So we're going to go up 4 and over 3, and we're going to end up right there. So our y-intercept in this case is -3. Okay, so just to show you how this works, that it makes sense that these slopes are the same even though they're different numbers, I'm going to keep going and you're going to see that my green is eventually going to line up with the black point that is at 6, 5. All right, so I'm going to go up 4 and over 3 again, and then up 4 and over 3 again. So there we go. I ended up in the same spot. So this just shows you what the difference is between a slope that is simplified and one that is not. So the simplified slope in green gets us to the same point as the slope that's not simplified in red. I could probably add these in here. So we went 4 and 3. All right, and we repeated that until we landed on the same point. So our y-intercept, all of that for the y-intercept of -3. So the equation then is y equals 4/3 x minus 3. All right, let's see what happens with this one. Hopefully something similar will happen, because that's kind of a tricky little thing we have to do where we reduce the slope and then use the reduced slope to find the y-intercept. So let's see what happens here. So we have -10, 10, so that's way over here in the upper left-hand corner. And then we have 10, 0, so that's way over here in the center of the right-hand side. So again, you can see we've got 2 points that are on opposite sides of the y-axis, so we have to do a little work to find our y-intercept. Okay, so again, this is kind of tricky. We got to go down first because the left-hand point is higher, and then we're going all the way over here. All right, so we went down. Now this case, we can just look at some numbers here. We went down to the x-axis, right? And our y value for this point up on top here is 10. So that means we went down 10. And then if we go all the way across the entire graph, we went from -10 to 0, and then from 0 to 10. So 2 chunks of 10, right? So we went over a total of 20. Okay, so our slope is negative 10 over 20. So we have negative 10 over 20. But then negative 10 and 20 can both be divided by 10. So we end up with negative 1 over 2. All right, one thing I'm noticing that I forgot to do that I said we should always do is write down what we're looking for. Okay, so we found our slope. It's negative 1 over 2. And now I'm going to go up here and use that slope to go from the left-hand point all the way to the y-intercept. So I'm going to go down 1 over 2, make a point, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. And I'm going to keep going until I end up on my y-intercept. And there we go. I'm going to stop, but you can see if you line these green points up with the two black ones that we're eventually going to hit that second black point down there at 10, 0. But in this case, my y-intercept is positive 5. So b is 5, so I can write my equation as y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. All right, you've got a couple to do on your own here, and I'm guessing that you're going to have to do the same thing where you simplify your slope and then use the simplified slope to be able to find your y-intercept. And make sure you enter your answers in Schoology in the assignment that's out there for you.